Hi, I'm sure you all know about the 3 R's, reading, writing and arithmetic. Well, did you know about the 10 R's? Stay tuned to this video to learn more. Welcome back to another episode of On the Couch with McNeill Real Estate, and I'm very pleased and delighted to once again welcome Tanya Lewis back from Organiser. Tanya's joining us once again on the couch, and this time she's actually going to be talking about something that we can all relate to, because it starts with R, 10 of them in fact. So I'll just remind you, Tanya is an international motivational speaker, a waste coach, author and interior designer, who specialises in educating the world on ethically managing our waste to protect our world. So welcome back, Tanya.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. So what we want to talk about now, everyone knows about the 3 R's in life, arithmetic, reading and writing. There we go, 3 R's. But you have created the 10 R's, Tanya.
I have. The reason I created them was because we have the reduce, reuse and recycle. We're very good at recycling.
Yes.
We are. But we really need to start reducing.
Yes.
But how do we start to reduce? We start by rethinking.
Mm-hmm.
When we stop and pause for 3 seconds before
Yes.
we click on a mouse and put something
Yes.
into our shopping cart,
Mm-hmm.
we allow our emotions to catch up with our rational thoughts.
Yes.
And in those 3 seconds, we can ask ourselves, do I really need this?
Mm-hmm.
And will it add value to my life?
Mm-hmm.
Because we see so many people where their homes are overwhelmed by stuff,
Yes.
things that they don't need, use or want.
Yes.
And when they don't function, I start to call it the clutter spiral.
Mm-hmm.
People forget they had it, so they go and buy more of the same.
Yes.
So when you're out in the store and you're wanting to buy something, stop, pause and rethink.
Mm-hmm.
You may want to ask yourself another question.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have similar?
Yes. Okay.
So rethink is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is responsible.
Yes.
We have made a decision to buy things.
Yes.
We need to be responsible for the disposal of our unwanted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them to charities when they don't need them or they're not in good
Yes.
condition is not responsible.
No.
Making sure they get into the right recycling stream is also very important.
Yes.
Because if we put the wrong thing into the
Yes.
recycling bin, we can contaminate a whole
All of it.
truckload
Yes.
and that has to go to landfill.
Right.
So we can
Okay.
start to take responsibility. Little things that we can do. Reading labels can also help.
Mm-hmm.
So responsible. Number 3 is refuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually okay to say no thank you to stuff.
Okay, good.
It's okay. So we empower people to say, look, it's okay, I don't need that.
Yeah.
It's also important to call out what I call greenwashing and refusing greenwashing. And what that means is products that are marketed as green when in fact they're not.
Right, okay.
We've sort of got like
So-
this sort of green wash
Right.
over the top of them.
So how do you work out? Yes, sorry.
Okay, so one of the first things I saw of greenwashing came around about 10, 11 years ago when the supermarkets introduced green bags that we could buy.
Yes.
They're actually made from woven polypropylene, which is a petroleum-based product.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we need to be using those many, many times
Yes.
to offset.
Yes.
And one of the roles I do is ethically decluttering, teaching people how to ethically declutter. What I would see as a common clutter point in people's homes is a cupboard in the kitchen full of green
plastic
bags.
Yes, guilty.
Because they go to the
Yes.
supermarket,
Yes.
they haven't got it, they
Yep,
become
they
guilty,
Yep.
I'll buy another one. But
Correct.
it's about setting up a process of reusing them.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is refuse. Then we move on to repurpose. So let's look at how we can repurpose the things that we have in our homes before we go and buy more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
So go shop your cupboards
Yes.
and see what you have.
Yep.
So repurposing. Number 5 is reorganise. Let's reorganise our home so that we fit comfortably within our current footprint, not outsourcing our things to storage units where we're paying for
Yes.
storage of things that we don't
need.
necessarily use, need or want.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 is repair.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to introduce things like repair cafes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's over 2,500 repair cafes around the world now.
Oh, yes, I've
There's-
heard about them.
There's some in there's one
Yes,
in Mornington, there's
yes.
one in Rosebud.
Yes.
So it's where you take things to be repaired.
Fantastic.
Number 7 is reduce. Let's just try and reduce waste in any way that we can. Number 8 is reuse.
Yep.
Choose reusable over single use. Number 9, recycle. Let's try and recycle right. So always look at your local council website to see what you can and can't recycle.
Okay.
Read labels is very important.
Yep.
How can we recycle? Number 10 is reward.
Yes.
When we start to create change in our lives, it's very important that we start to build in rewards along the way.
Yes.
Because if we're looking at a big hard slog to
Yes.
create change, guaranteed we're not going to
you're not
finish
going to keep
this.
going. Yeah.
So building rewards along the way. But ultimately, when we reduce waste, we are all rewarded.
Yes,
With
it's
a
a
cleaner
reward in
planet.
itself. Yes. Yep. I get that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, I hope everyone takes that on board and presses stop and pause and rewind and takes really good note of the 10 R's. That sounds fantastic, Tanya.
Thank you.
So in relation to that kind of education, do you run sort of local workshops on the Mornington Peninsula?
Yes, I have run many workshops on the Mornington Peninsula, and I also run them now via webinar and Zoom and all those sorts of things. So
Yes.
the audience is growing. So yes.
Yes.
Again, on my website I have an events page, so go and have a look
Okay,
there
fantastic.
and find out where I'm speaking, and you can join.
Okay, no, that sounds marvellous. So we sort of touched a little bit on this in the last video, but are people only able to reduce waste at home? Can they do it at work?
No, absolutely. And this is where we sort of deviate a little bit from the physical waste. We can actually look at wasteful habits.
Yes.
So what time are we wasting looking for stuff? So if we have a very crowded and cluttered office and things like that, wasting time looking for stuff costs our bottom line.
Yes.
So we can look at reducing waste in that aspect at the workplace, but also too it could be just setting up just little different recycling systems within the office that we can reduce waste. So for instance, we can now recycle empty pens at Officeworks.
Okay.
So creating a small capture point,
Yeah.
we can recycle those. We can
Right.
capture things like soft plastics and recycle those through RedCycle, which is a local business, which is
Okay.
sort of to Carrum Downs, so sort of Mornington
Right.
Peninsula.
Yep, that's fine.
And they're doing amazing things with recycling of soft plastics. So there's many different little things that we can do
Yes.
to be take responsibility for the waste
Okay.
and reuse it.
It's actually quite fascinating that waste is a really fascinating topic. Because you kind of think, oh, waste, it's just rubbish, you just throw it
No.
away. But no, when you think more about what it is and how it's created and how it can be disposed of and reused,
Yeah.
it's actually quite a fascinating topic. So,
Well, I think waste is only waste when we throw it away.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point.
There is so much. I mean, to make a plastic bottle, we need oil. And we use it once and we throw it away.
Yep.
That oil has taken millions of years to
Yes,
produce,
yes,
and it has one purpose.
yes. Yep.
Why can't we capture it and reuse it?
Yep, that's a very good point. Now, this leads me to the next question, which is you are an author of 2 books.
Yes, I am.
And one is called Stuff Off, which is an absolutely fantastic title. I love that one.
Yeah.
But today you've brought with you
Yes, my new book.
Ethically Declutter Your Home in 30 Days. So
Yeah.
tell us about your book.
Well, I wrote this one because we went through that phenomena of if things don't spark joy, we throw them out.
Yes.
Right. And so
Very condo.
Yes, very condo. And look, she certainly inspired a lot of people to do that. But what we also saw was the charities were overwhelmed. Their donations went up by 40%.
Wow.
And a lot of that did actually go to landfill. Because things were dumped, left in the rain, or they just weren't in good condition. So we work through the 10 R's about being responsible, but we also have a strategic plan on how you actually declutter. So it's not to become overwhelmed. So it is the absolute beginner's guide to ethically decluttering your home. So we start at the front door and we work all our way through to the back door. So
that sounds fantastic. I think I should put my hand up for that. That would be amazing because, as you say, Tanya, you just don't realise how much you accumulate stuff. And to be honest, and this comes back to my business, it's only when people move.
Yes.
When they've sold their house, or they've just bought a house and they're moving out for the first time, that's when they realise how much stuff they've got.
Yeah.
And the removalist has to move a lot of stuff that
Yes.
they don't want, as you said. So they either throw it all in a skip
Yes.
to get rid of it, or take it all with them and say, oh, well, I'll deal with that, once I move in. And they don't.
They don't. I once worked with a client who he was injured, so he was sitting there, and I was going through all these cupboards in his studio, and on the top shelf was a box, and I asked him what it was so that I didn't hurt myself taking it off. And he said, "You'll laugh, Tanya."
Yeah.
And I said, "Why?" He said, "It's a box of polystyrene balls
Oh.
out of a beanbag."
Oh.
He said, "I have moved those from Melbourne to Brisbane and back again."
Why?
Why? Why?
Yeah.
And also too, the money that he's paid
Yes.
to have it taken up there and
Yes.
back again.
Yes. He could have got rid of it, or
Yes.
dealt with it correctly,
Reduced,
and then bought more if he really needed it.
Correct.
Which clearly he didn't,
Correct.
because it's still there.
And I actually talked him through it, and he allowed me to actually take it to an op shop and donate it.
Fantastic.
The op shop would actually take it. They said, yes,
Yes.
we will take it because people can come here and
Yes.
top up their bean bags.
Yes. Yep.
So we are recycling it.
Yep.
He gained the space that he
Yes.
needed, and somebody else benefited
Gain.
from it.
Yes. Yep.
So
Which is a win-win. Perfect.
it's a win-win.
That's absolutely perfect. So with all of the topics that you cover, how do they sort of help ordinary folk? Like, how do people, I guess an example is the chap you just spoke about, how do people feel when they've actually gone through the process of your decluttering 30 days and they've got a house that, they feel more connected to?
Yeah. Look, the most common response I get is, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
Okay.
That's the most common thing I get.
Yep.
And I think another beautiful one I had was when I turned up to my client's house. We'd been working together for 3 days, and I could just hear this music just coming out of the house like you wouldn't believe. And I sort of knocked on the front door. I'm here for my 3rd day of work, and they didn't hear me, so I popped my head in the door, and they were square dancing in their lounge room.
Yeah.
And I said, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
They said, "We're square dancing in our lounge room because we can."
Because we can. Yeah. That's fantastic.
They just felt so happy, and they
Yeah.
were very passionate about their square dancing.
Oh,
they were
yeah.
competitive, and so we created the space the day
Yes.
before that they could do what they
Yes.
wanted to do. And what was also really beautiful was that we'd also done their dining room, and they couldn't walk around their dining room, so they said, "Tanya, we've actually organised a dinner party because we now have our dining
Do
room
that.
back."
Yep.
And also on the sideboard there was some pictures there that weren't there the day before.
Oh, okay.
And those pictures were of their daughter who had died.
Oh, wow.
So she now had pride in
Wow.
place.
Yeah.
They felt that now they'd created a space that would honour her.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
So
It gives me shivers.
it does, it really does.
Yep.
And that's the power of letting go of things
Yes.
that we don't really need and want.
Yeah.
We let those really great things come back into
Yeah.
our lives again.
I'm glad I asked that question. That's really incredible. So I guess you brought a jar. I'm quite fascinated by
okay.
this jar that you brought. So.
Well, it is a fact that we use 2.7 million disposable coffee cups a day in Australia.
Yes.
So every one of those basically goes to, not everyone, there are some that are compostable, but that's a very long story, and that's probably another whole video.
Topic.
Yeah, so let's just say we use 2.7 million coffee cups a day, disposable. I question, why do we have to go out and buy another cup, a reusable cup? Why can't we just take a coffee cup from home to buy
Yes.
our takeaway? Because when we buy another piece of plastic, it's another piece of plastic. When we also buy a ceramic reusable cup, they cost between $20 to $40. And the thing with any ceramics, once they're chipped, cracked or broken, they must go to landfill. We do not have a way of recycling those in Australia. So any of your bowls, your plates, or anything that you have in the kitchen, they must go to landfill. So I've developed this very unique reusable cup, and we've nicknamed it the hiccup.
The hiccup, okay.
Because we want to make a hiccup into this cup, this disposable cup and reusable cup industry. This you can make yourself out of your own waste. So this is a pickles jar. You can use a jam jar. You can use whatever you want. And we have now really modified it by actually placing some elastic bands around it so we don't burn our fingers.
Yeah, when it's hot.
So now elastic bands, you can get them off your vegetables if you buy some asparagus or silver bean or anything like that. So place some elastic bands around it and you have created yourself a hiccup.
Excellent. Well, anyone watching, if you actually create a hiccup, can you please send a photo of it into Tanya and I, because we would love to see your invention.
I would love to see more photos and see the hiccup take over.
No, that's fantastic. So, Tanya, I have asked this before, but what do you do when you're not working?
Well, again, it's about that getting back to nature. You know, we have it's receding in our own area. We've got to embrace it, and we've got to get more out into it, and enjoy it, and love it, and respect it. And so I love spending time in nature.
Yeah. I think I've certainly found during COVID that I've kind of connected with that more, because it kind of felt like that kept me sane. Going for a walk, seeing the birds, seeing the wildlife, seeing the change in, autumn, winter, spring, the change in the plants and the flowers. It's just been incredible, and it's kind of been a really nice reset.
It has.
For all the terrible things that has happened, it's been a really good reset.
In some ways it has. It's and let's hope that we come out of this with a green recovery.
Yes, learning more. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So thank you for joining us again.
Thank you very much for having me.
That's been brilliant. So that concludes another episode of On the Couch with McNeill Real Estate. So please subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for further interviews.